pray to Yahweh, Power Son, yahawashi, and to a master great millstone for the world and the truth and the one who left whoever part that number. Real Hebrew Israelites coming from weak, teaching this world and the truth.
My Lord, you have put your hand on this town. I can see.
We arrange.
My dear brothers and sisters, I have prayed all day about this subject. The mark of the beast. It is solemn, very moving, because everybody who gets the mark of the beast is lost.
The mark of the beast. A tattoo, a barcode, a national ID card, a microchip.
Can a microscopic tag be implanted in a person's body to track his every movement? There's actual discussion about that. You will rule on that. Mark my words.
Mark my words, huh? More like the mark of the beast.
Sounds scary. Definitely important, but there are so many different opinions. How do I know which one is true?
By 2020, mobile wallets on our smartphones are expected to surpass the use of credit and debit cards in the U.S. That has already happened in China.
India also has a national ID system called Aadhaar that registers people using biometrics.
This may be the next big thing, and it sounds like it's right from a sci-fi movie, but people all over the world are implanting these into their wrists.
Once implanted, it could identify you as you pass through the airport, open the door to your home. It could even be used to buy groceries at the supermarket.
Of the beast. I walked into a meeting 22 years ago and heard those words, and my life has never been the same. We've come to Washington, D.C. to talk to someone who many believe has spoken on this subject more than anyone else, Mark Finley.
My topic is the mark of the beast. Many people wonder about this mysterious mark 666. Whatever the mark of the beast is, it is something of cosmic proportion.
When you search for this topic on YouTube, you're likely to see Mark Finley's name come up. We wanted to place Finley in a setting somewhat different from his typical pulpit. We arranged a meetup with 5 individuals, people that he had never met. Each had their own ideas about what the mark of the beast is.
I grew up in New York, and I grew up there my whole life until I moved to DC in 2009. I've had a little bit of a crazy background.
I'm 19. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland. I go to school at Marymount University in Arlington, Virginia.
I grew up in a Christian home. I'm the daughter of pastors. My grandparents were pastors. My mom was a pastor, so I guess you could say I'm a PK.
And I'm a third-year law student right now at GW Law School. I finish up in December. I also have a history of being a stand-up comedian and an actor.
I'm 20 years old. I'm a cybersecurity major, cybersecurity and information assurance. That's pretty much my main goal, but right now I freelance and do event production.
This idea of the Antichrist. The beast is in fact in our tradition as well, and the beast is one of the signs of the last hour of the day of judgment. So we believe that there are many signs that will happen before the day of judgment. Floods, earthquakes, all these dangerous things.
The mark of the beast are concerned is that I read the Bible very,
including martial law and FEMA camps.
Literally, in the sense of like an evangelical, and to me that's the only way that really made sense. I used to kind of cherry pick what I believed and what I didn't, and I always just found too many loopholes with it. And part of the reason that I was able to really believe this time was because I just took it for what it was, plain reading. Obviously, there are metaphors in the Bible, but only when it's meant to be a metaphor. If it was written literally, I'd take it literally.
Yes, I've been Roman Catholic since I was a little kid. My whole family's been Roman Catholic. Before participating, I have never heard of Mark of the Beast. I've had many religion classes throughout school, and we've talked about the Book of Revelation, but we've never talked about Mark of the Beast.
Just like growing up, of course, you hear about the Mark.
Of course, these churches I hear don't hit on the scripture that you really need to learn. Those churches I hear in Chicago don't hit on all the scriptures that you need to know. They don't do that because they know the truth. They know that if they hit on those scriptures, people will start coming to that church. They don't hit on the important scriptures that you need to learn in order to enter the new kingdom. They don't go over the Ten Commandments that much.
Mark of the Beast, and you think a literal beast, like a monster almost.
I believe in Mark of the Beast technology.
Well, thank you very much for agreeing to take a drive through D.C. with us. I'm looking forward to it. I was brought up in a lovely Roman Catholic home. My parents were really close and brought up in a home that was quite secure. Brought up in Norwich, Connecticut, lived right on Long Island Sound, and grew up with the wind blowing in my face and the sand coming up between my toes, and lived, not far from the beach and not far from the ocean, and just absolutely look back at my childhood, and, there's always ups and downs, but it was really positive, just really a positive childhood. My father later began studying the Bible quite seriously. He worked with a Seventh-day Adventist at work. My father was the foreman of the night shift at a place called Bostage Staple Company, and his foreman worked the day shift, and his foreman was a Seventh-day Adventist, so he began to share with him the scriptural principles, the truths of Scripture, and Dad became an Adventist. So I grew up in a home where my father was a Seventh-day Adventist, my mother was a Catholic. Never saw them argue once over religion. Really? Yeah, never once. In fact, in those years, my mother smoked. My father did not, of course. My mother ate pork, and I can remember Rico sitting down at times at our table. My mother would make salad and peas and corn and potatoes. My father would put them on his plate. He'd pass the pork chops by, look at my mother and say, "Gloria, what a wonderful meal," My mother didn't drive in those years, so my father drove her to church, Catholic church, every Sunday, and would sit outside studying his Sabbath school lesson, So he wouldn't go in? No, but because he didn't have that belief system, but he respected her. I grew up in a home where the beliefs of one were respected. When I grew up, of course, in the Catholic Church, was educated by the priests and nuns on the altar, went to Catholic schools for my first 8 years, then went to a public high school. When I was a senior in high school, my father knew that this was his really last chance to really have any major impact on me, but we had developed a relationship. I can remember... You know something? Uh-huh.
The first was like a lion, and it had wings of an eagle.
Type into Google.
Turns out there wasn't just one beast. It was more like a zoo.
Daniel 7, verse 17, and Daniel 7 and verse 23.
13. And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power, and his seat and great authority. And I saw one of his heads, as it were, wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed. And all the world wondered after the beast, and they worshipped the dragon which gave power unto the beast. And they worshipped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months. And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle, and them that dwell in heaven. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints, and to overcome them. And power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world.
That means
If any man have an ear, let him hear.
How I telling you to
He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and faith of the saints. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth, and them which dwell therein, to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword, and did live. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand, or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666.
See, toward the churches to teach you about.
Revelation 14. And I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on the Mount Zion, and with him 144,000, having his father's name written in their foreheads. And I heard a voice from heaven, as the voice of many waters, and as the voice of a great thunder. And I heard the voice of harpers harping with their harps, and they sung as it were a new song before the throne, and before the 4 beasts and the elders. And no man could learn that song but the 144,000 which were redeemed from the earth. These are they which were not defiled with women, but they are virgins. These are they which follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth. These were redeemed from among men, being the first fruits unto God and to the Lamb. And in their mouth was found no guile, for they are without fault before the throne of God. And I saw another angel fly in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth, and to every nation and kindred and tongue and people, saying with a loud voice, Fear God, and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment is come, and worship him that made heaven and earth and the sea and the fountains of waters. And there followed another angel, saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, If any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels, and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascendeth up forever and ever, and they have no rest day nor night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God, and the faith of Jesus. And I heard a voice from heaven saying unto me, Write, Blessed are the dead, which die in the Lord from henceforth, yea, saith the Spirit, that they may rest from their labors, and their works do follow them. And I looked, and behold a white white cloud, and upon the cloud one sat like unto the Son of Man, having on his head a golden crown, and in his hand a sharp sickle. And another angel came out of the temple, crying with a loud voice to him that sat on the cloud, Thrust in thy sickle and reap, for the time is come for thee to reap, for the harvest of the earth is ripe. And he that sat on the cloud thrust in his sickle on the earth, and the earth was reaped. And another angel came out of the temple which is in heaven, he also having a sharp sickle. And another angel came out from the altar which had power over fire, and cried with a loud cry to him that had the sharp sickle, saying, Thrust in thy sharp sickle, and gather the clusters of the vine of the earth, for her grapes are fully ripe. And the angel thrust in his sickle into the earth, and gathered the vine of the earth, and cast it into the great winepress of the wrath of God. And the winepress was trodden without the city, and blood came out of the winepress, even unto the horse bridles, by the space of 1,600 furlongs.
Now, what the scripture's telling you is, whoever takes the mark of the beast will be put to death by fire. Because that's telling you that mostly all the Americans, they wicked. And before that comes, you got to fast. They got all the electricity. They can do anything. And whoever don't represent Yahawashi, people gonna take that mark will not be in that kingdom. Because that mark is the mark of the peace. Shalom.